here we are in the backyard, something I'm loving, and that is backyard business. And what I love most about it, Laurie Hackett, is we get to bring people like you on who are literally changing the community. And I know that's like Chamber of Commerce-y kind of stuff, but do you ever think of that when I think of your professional career, which is unreal, but do you ever think that you're in a position where you have changed organizations and communities? I mean, that's got to be really a good feeling.
Oh, thanks so much. It is. I'm getting teary already, and we've been talking for 1 minute. It is. And again, I'm just really fortunate to be in this spot, to be able to be a connector, to be so involved. But yes, I see nonprofit organizations who, but for a little grant, and then they could get their technology upgraded, which would allow them to do more fundraising and serve more people. I know that I am able to be at the beginning of that. So yes, it's humbling, but it's such a good feeling. I
mean, we're all human, so I don't know, it'd be too was Pollyannic a word? I don't know, but I watch you in meetings. You have a very, very rapid mind, and you're blessed. You're a very, very bright woman. You are. And I watch you processing things, and I guess two things. At times you can't help yourself, but you're a critical, I wouldn't say you're a critical thinker, you just have an active mind, and is that hard sometimes? And it's rewarding. I guess it took you where you are.
It did. It has served me well. Thanks so much. But you're right. I can't help myself sometimes. And like when I make a comment like, oh, I don't really have an opinion on this topic, everyone's like, yes, you do. Yeah. You have an opinion on everything. But I'm not just going to show up. I want to get in it. I want to talk about it. Have conversations, maybe offer some ideas or solutions. So yeah, I can't help myself.
The other thing I really admire, and we'll get to the other stuff in life, but I knew you, I first met you when you were at Lehigh University. Mm-hmm. Air Products is not an easy place to rise in terms of there's overachievers that fill that building, and so what was that like? Going from an academia, if you will, now you're in a serious corporate world. I don't think people. I don't know it because I was never in it, thank God, because I would last about a week. Is it hard sometimes to navigate yourself through that?
It was hard at the beginning because you're right. I worked at universities. That was my career. And I taught at Lehigh and ran some programs. And it was a more gentle pace. There were still personalities and, of course, deadlines and projects. But then I go corporate. And what really got me is when I mentioned to Lehigh that I was leaving to go to Air Products, somebody said, "You'll never make it in corporate."
Wow.
And that's all you need to hear.
Like, that irritates you a little bit.
That did irritate me a little bit. So I've been at Air Products for 18 years, which is hard to believe. And it's hard work, but people are so smart and so passionate and so driven. And I just remember being there the first month or so, like, I can't believe I get to work with these people and learn from them. And then you go out in community and you share one of their ideas or one of their, and I just didn't realize how much I was learning as I went along. So I was up for it. And
intimidated a little bit in the beginning?
Absolutely, because so much of our company are engineers and PhDs.
I'd be in the lobby in the fetal position the first day. I'd be like, come on.
Because you can kind of go along for a while, like, I understand how we separate air until somebody says, so how do you separate air? I don't really know. Yeah. So yes, absolutely intimidating, but people are committed and, you ask a lot of questions, and we've had a lot of great leadership, as you've known some of the other CEOs, and certainly our current CEO,
love
Seifi Ghasemi, great to work with, and the entire team is.
Did you, well, speaking of that, it's been, I can remember one of the things I did, I used to be in the real estate business, and then I took another position, and I was hired by several companies to show people around without selling them. They loved that. And it was really a nice gig for me. I'd take them to different developments, tell them about it, and but you always knew Air Products people, they were the top of the heap. They were going to be, they were going to be brilliant engineers, especially when you go back like in the 70s and 80s was really the top of the heap. And so are you surprised that this company that was, quote unquote, so good that Seifi could take it yet to another level?
Mm-hmm. That's a really, really great insight. Absolutely. And the fact that, and I think a lot of this helped is, as many of you know, we have made the Lehigh Valley our global corporate headquarters.
Yeah. Could
23,000
go anywhere.
employees around the world. We have talked about this, and we chose to stay here. It's really realizing we can be agile, we can be creative, we can be entrepreneurial, we can understand what business should be, what else could we be, and those are the big thinkers that certainly our leadership is, and we are surrounded by.
Yeah, and one of the things I love about Seifi and talking with him and the roles, if they're your role in the company, is that he feels what he gives the community is employing a successful company that employs people, and he leaves the community stuff to you, which you do better than anybody. I mean, you're everywhere. I don't know. I mean, people always say, I don't know how you do it, but are there times where you're like, oh my gosh, I have to go to the blah blah? I mean, I don't know. Do you ever?
There really isn't. I love it so much that I might think it for a minute, but like you.
Yeah, I'm with you. Once you're there and you're around human beings, you're like, yeah.
I'm like, who can I talk to next?
I get it. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So give me a name tag and I'm there.
Yeah.
So yes.
So I don't want people to think that it's the world is life is perfect. So how'd you grow up? I want people to know a little bit about you. You grew up in New York?
Upstate New York. Yeah. Really okay. Western New York. Okay. Very small town. Big family, big Irish Catholic.
Crazy
family.
Question, like cold town, like a snowy kind of.
Yep. Oh, absolutely,
okay.
Absolutely. Right in the valleys, south of Buffalo, but 2 hours from Buffalo.
Big employer was like people.
Big employer. We had a couple of a lot of farming.
Okay.
We had a couple of big employers where like the rich kids' parents worked.
Yeah.
And you.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
But really happy. I think I didn't realize growing up how.
Were you a rich kid?
No, not at all. Heck, that's what. My dad was a rural carrier, so he drove around the countryside, delivered mail, and my mom was a school bus driver.
Oh, wow.
So we knew everybody in town.
Yeah.
And
like 5,000 people, like an Emmaus kind of thing, or
there were 3,000.
Oh, okay, yeah, that's
and families had 12 and 13 kids.
Gotcha.
I mean, it was just a beautiful community. I still go back to visit, and I still see people from high school who say, "How'd things work out for you?
Yeah.
Did you?" Like, yeah,
sure.
I graduated from high school.
Yeah.
I went on to college. Things are working. So it's a great place to grow up. So.
And then, how'd you end up here?
So I went to, I did undergrad in New York State. And then I went to graduate school in Ohio at Miami of Ohio and was really interested in working at colleges and universities. So I loved understanding people. I love student development, understanding what happens to a young person from the age of 18 to 22. I love that process.
Yeah.
So I worked at different
That's
universities.
an important timeline, by the way. Really important. I'm glad you bring that up.
They're making choices and changes and everything.
Yeah, that's a really hard. What am I going to be doing? For me, it was really a hard time. Really hard time.
Because you were in the middle of decisions?
We had a family business that we lost our business and our house. And I was working on an assembly line at Mack Truck. Thank God for Mack Truck. I got a job in the assembly line. But I had so much anxiety. I would literally go into the men's room in between putting tires on trucks and have an anxiety attack. Just catch my breath and come back out. Yeah. But anyway, I guess that's when but would you agree that it is the toughest, and we all have them, the toughest times when you learn the most about yourself? Mm-hmm. But was there ever a time where you thought, I hope I can get through this?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, absolutely. And that's why I loved my role in being able to work one-on-one with college students. I think nowadays we're really lucky because we're spending more time understanding the high school experience. Back then, 30 years ago, it was you met a student at a college when they were 18. You never asked a question. What kind of school did you go to? What's your family like? You just expected everybody to succeed at the same level. And they don't. There's so much going on with us.
Yeah.
So I worked at universities all around, moved to the Valley to work at Lehigh University and thought, I'll just be there for a few years and then I'll leave. And I ended up staying.
And it's home.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So you've seen the evolution. Are you as surprised? I mean, we have our challenges, but are you as surprised as I am at what's going on here in the last 20, 30 years?
Absolutely. It's amazing, Tony, isn't it?
Yeah.
You think back to kind of where we were. Even I remember the conversations about casinos coming in or Southside Bethlehem, anything.
Yep.
And now what a treasure. When I first moved here, I'll say this, I took a tour of Bethlehem on a Moravian nightlight tour. And I said, I want to do that. So I signed up. I got the whole outfit, the Moravian outfit. And I rode on the buses around town and visitors would come to town and they'd like press a little quarter in my hand, thinking I was something.
Yeah.
And thinking this was my job.
Yeah.
And and I loved it. So I learned. So if ever you want a tour of Bethlehem and know the history, I have a 1-hour tour committed to
Really?
memory.
Yeah, you're good at that.
Jump in your car, and I'll give you the details.
Well, I can remember, speaking of that, I can remember Mac moving. I can remember Bethlehem Steel closing, and a lot of that. And I don't want to get hung up in that because we left that behind. But it was it's funny. Communities can have their own self-esteem, and ours was really low. And now it's like, come on.
How long have you been in the Valley?
My whole life. I moved at this house, which I lived in Allentown, and I moved into Lower Macungie, which is, maybe 10 minutes away. And my family acted like I moved to Minnesota or something, So, but there's a lot of great people like Yusef, right?
Downtown?
What's that?
Didn't you do some downtown work?
Did you agree that Yusef's a very impressive person?
Oh, Yusef is very impressive. Yes.
Not as impressive as you.
Anyway, what did you say?
Did you do some downtown Allentown work?
Oh my gosh,
That's when I first
started at
knew
Mack
your
Truck,
name.
and then I went into real estate, and which I love. But then I just wanted to do something different. I started to work for the downtown organizations. Then I worked for Allentown Economic Development. Then I ran a hotel for Ray Holland. I was always around Allentown. Yeah, he bought the Hamilton Plaza. I was his general manager for 3 years. Yeah.
So you know better than anybody. You were right there front
line.
Oh
my God, the whole time.
The growth.
The whole time. Yeah. Yeah, and I loved it. Thank God. This, as you and I, when you did my interview, this for me, this community's made me. They've been so good to me. So a question I wanted to ask was managing the growth we've had so much expansion. So that means traffic. That means housing. Is there concerns that you have in managing all this growth? Are we ready for that? Will we do a good job of that?
I think we are. I think we, as evidenced by my involvement, for example, with public policy of the chamber, 40 people dial in once a month who are interested and involved and really invested on what's happening in the Valley. I think absolutely. We've got incredible people leading those organizations, great elected officials, Becky Bradley, Nancy Dishnot, Don Cunningham, people, doing great things. We're all collaborating and working together. So I think so. And, Upper Macungie Township, really excited. That's where our headquarters is, but really excited about what's happening over there. We're going to break ground on a big a big Upper Macungie Township Community Lifestyle Center.
Yeah, amazingly big.
Incredible center with everything from babies to adults to, regulation-sized soccer field, and the interest and the support for that is just beyond. So
for those who don't know, especially say a young woman professional, your job looks like nothing but fun, and I know you love it. It is fun. I don't think you have days, but there's work to it. I mean, obviously. But is it finding enough funds to get to people to help the community? Is it finding out who needs it? I mean, what would you say your challenges are?
Sure, thanks for that, by the way, because you're right. Everybody thinks, oh, you're just going to galas for a living.
Does that irritate you a little bit?
It doesn't irritate me, but
okay. Yeah. Well, you're different than me. I have a chip on my shoulder. That would irritate me. But anyway.
So I think the hard part is we can't be everything to everybody. Yeah. I just got a call yesterday. We're doing this great program for kids in sports. I'm like, that sounds wonderful. We can't be everything to everyone. So we're going to have to say no to that. I can help recommend.
You're pretty good at that, though. I would probably have us over budget by $3 million because I said yes to everybody. Yeah.
Well, there's a fine art of declination. Yeah. So I decline with maybe, but here's 3 other people you could call or 3 other ideas.
Yeah, no, that's good though. You need to do that, as I said. Yeah. So Air Products going forward again made this huge investment. That building is out of this world, beautiful, and so many facets that make it friendly, environmentally friendly. Just the whole thing just has had so much, a typical engineering brain, so much thought into it.
It is such a beautiful building, Tony. I was just over there. We just had a lunch outside. Yeah, it's really beautiful. The meadows, the commitment that we have made to sustainability and generating a cleaner future, which is our mantra. Yeah. And the building certainly shows that. When people say, oh, I don't think I know where Air Products headquarters is. Mm. Have you driven by Upper Macungie and seen the big high rise?
It is credible, the world that we're in, that we operate in. You think that everyone knows, and it's not, people have their lives. I've been so many people run for office and they think everybody knows me. And then they do like one of those things, find out who knows them, and not really as many people know them.
What about you? Would you ever run for office? Look at all the people that know you, Tony.
Yeah, no, I would be great if someone left and they appointed me. Yeah, running, I'd be, the election night, that'd be a very hard situation.
You and I would be crying.
Yeah, it would be hard.
People would say one bad thing about us.
Exactly.
We'd be in tears.
Yeah, it would be very hard for me. So yeah, I love public policy. I love government. I love what they do, and I respect them. People always, critique quote unquote politicians, and I think the people that have the guts to run and try to have an impact, I respect it, because I think it's hard. So and I respect what you do. I think again, I've told you this. You sometimes a company makes a person, and sometimes a person makes a company. And I think that what you do. I mean, look, Air Products is an amazing organization, but if you're going to have someone represent you in the community, it should be you, and I know you love it.
I do. I've been really fortunate, so thank you.
So we have like a couple of seconds to go. Anything you want to, any parting thoughts that you want to say? Only because you have a lot of knowledge about this community.
Thanks so much. I guess I'd just close by saying, I feel like we say this a lot, and again, you and I are able to be right here up front doing it, but this community is so special, and I get to see it from this lens of being able to be so involved with nonprofits. But the people that are out there contributing their time, volunteering, writing checks, small and large, the spirit of philanthropy and community support in this Lehigh Valley is incredible.
Yeah, I agree with that. I have 5 other things I could ask you, but we're out of time. All right, thanks so much. Backyard Business, great guest, Laurie Hackett. Thank you so much. And thank you all for watching. We really appreciate that. And we'll see you in the next episode.